Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, and this is going to be a weird one, huh? I don't know if you've tried to open Marvel Snap yet today, but if you're in America, as in the United States of America, not the American territories, as far as I'm aware, the TikTok ban happened. Apparently, ByteDance is also involved in Marvel Snap. They also own TikTok, or Newverse owns them. I don't really care exactly how that works. But it means that Marvel Snap is not on US servers right now. It is straight up not working in the United States. Okay. Um, I'm going to assume this is going to get fixed. Marvel Snap is not exactly what they're talking about as far as the TikTok ban goes and everything else. But for the time being, I already figured out how to log into Marvel Snap. You can use a VPN. If you set a VPN to another country, and then you go log in, you're going to get the notification that it's illegal and yada yada yada. Then you just log in as normal, at least through my Gmail account, which is how I have my Marvel Snap connected. It worked fine. I'll suggest a free VPN on the next slide. It's the one I used for Pokemon Pocket when I thought I was going to love that game. Oops. But I do have a free VPN that I use during that time. I now have also a paid VPN I use. I can tell you what the paid VPN I use is as well. Let's get started with Frank Puddles. We're so back, and I'm hoping that by the time you see this video, as I record this around midnight, I'm hoping that by the time you see this video, we're so back is the statement we can all say. This is Frank Puddles' list, which is a really cool list. This is like that old Black Bolt Stature style of deck that we used to run way, way back, like a year and a half, 2 years ago. It was the best deck in the game for a little while. Safety Blade made it. Well, Frank decided to update it. You can find Frank at the Twitter there. This deck needs only Zabu. Jeff or Silk is needed, so you do need one of the high series cards, but one can be any two that you want to play on turn two. I'm partial to the idea of putting Scream into this. I think Scream would be very good here. Iron Patriot as well is a very powerful card. Silver Samurai can be Moon Knight more or less. You want to play Moon Knight and a 2 sometimes on turn 5, and Silver Samurai can complicate that, so it's not like a perfect one for one, but it's a fine change to make. Um, the VPN that I was going to suggest is Tunnel Bear VPN. You should be able to find it in your App Store if you're so inclined. Tunnel Bear is the VPN that I used during the Pokemon Pocket. It worked fine. Set yourself up to New Zealand. I used my Proton VPN. That's the one I pay for. Um, I just decided I was sick of using Tunnel Bear and dealing with the sort of obnoxiousness of dealing with a free version. And so I have a paid VPN for the past several months. Thank God I didn't cancel it. And that's the one that worked just fine for me. But I've heard from others that Tunnel Bear is working. Cool. All right, let's talk about the actual deck and how to play it. So this is one that won an Infinity ticket and one that Mr. Puddle has been rocking with. Turn one, you want Zabu over Nightcrawler. Turn two, Silk is better than Jeff. You will move. You will either play Spidey or Nightcrawler if you want to play Miles on three, which happens sometimes, but it's not a consistent play. Turn three, Polaris or a 2+1. Turn four, a 2+2 or Polaris +1. Turn five, Black Bolt or Moon Knight. And turn six, and obviously if you're playing Moon Knight, you can play a 2-drop as well. And then turn six, Stature and Shang or Enchantress. And hopefully Shang or Enchantress can win. Stature is 7 power. If you can get another cheap card in there too, you are good to go. Cool. This list is awesome, and I'm really, really happy to share it with you. Hey, I know Marvel Snap might be down, but we never are. We do 7 days a week of videos. Even if this takes a day or two, I've got like 7 or 8 decks on layaway waiting for you. We will be caught up on all the meta stuff with a million decks to try when Marvel Snap comes back. Please hit that sub button, like, and comment as we do our best to hit 25,000 subs as we revive, just like Marvel Snap will in 2025. In addition, we're giving away an Iron Patriot, as soon as we can. So we actually have to announce a last week's Iron Patriot winner. We'll do that in tomorrow's video. All of this nonsense actually made me just forget until now. So we're going to give away an Iron Patriot. All you have to do is, I haven't pulled that winner yet. So if you want to go through last week's videos and leave comments and stuff, you can be entered to win an Iron Patriot there. We'll be giving away another one this week, the week of Bullseye. All right, Danish's new Hela. You might remember Danish, who was #1 for a little while with Hela. Well, Hela was recently reworked, and Danish reworked his deck. And this deck is brilliant. I played it prior to the nonsense, and I absolutely crushed with it. This feels really good. So it's freaking nearly impossible to play if you're not Danish. But then I had the bright idea of ask Danish what to do. So Danish told me exactly his play-by-play. And now this list is one of the best in Marvel Snap for me. I think that this is really cool. This is like interactive fun hella. Danish doesn't have any socials that I'm aware of. This deck needs Blink and Corvus Glaive. You must have those two. Corvus is pivotal to this deck. Supergiant can be any less than 4 tech card. Supergiant is just so good into the meta that it stays here. Fenris, Killmonger, Red Guardian, and Shadow King are all possible replacements for Supergiant. Gore can be Red Hulk or Magneto. Let's go card by card. So Blade is here because it's really, really good on later turns. I was blading fairly early and it was messing me up when I was just playing this list without Denish's tips. So Blade is very good, right? Once you have Corvus, because now you have an extra energy on a bunch of turns. And that extra energy allows you to do very powerful things with Blade, combining with Blink, making sure that you get an extra card right before Hela, and so on and so forth. That's very strong. Blade early can happen, but it's not the goal, right? Like the only card you're really gonna blade early is Gore, and you should probably know what your opponent's doing because you really don't want to draw Hela and Corvus Glaive and then not be able to play Corvus Glaive because you bladed off a card. They're negative 2 cards in hand, which you really need for that Corvus play. Turn 2 is obviously the same thing with Blade here. Turn 3, you would very much like to Corvus Glaive. Corvus Glaive is your most important card by a lot outside of Hela. Corvus is absolutely incredible. One of the things you will fairly often end up doing is like you'll play a Corvus, and then you'll start playing like discarders on top of Corvus, and then Odin that off, and then be able to Hela that back with like a blink later, or you can discard your Hela, and then you can Ghost Rider with Corvus sometimes, and then you'll Ghost Rider, and then you can drop that Odin on that Ghost Rider for to potentially get that Hela back again, bringing back a whole bunch of other cards. Stuff like that is really strong, and Corvus gives you the extra energy to do that not on turn 6, which is pivotal for the list. Gambit is the card you play if there's a really, really key target that the opponents are playing. Gambit is excellent. Personally sniped 2 times. Different opponents went Psylocke into Doom. My wire is tangled. Sorry, Psylocke into Doom 2099, and my response was, I saw the Psylocke. I knew that they were going to be playing like a Galactor Doom 2099. One time I had Corvus, one time I didn't. I just cold dropped Gambit. I was like, all right, let's see if I get. They have Prio. I didn't play a card. Let's see if I get the 50-50. Both times I hit the 50-50. I was able to snap, got a retreat. The second time they had snapped me, which was really nice. So outside of that, Gambit is fine if you don't have Corvus, but otherwise you would really, really prefer to play Corvus. You need the multiple discard. Turn 4 is Supergiant, and Supergiant's not here especially because she's good with discard. I know that's an easy mistake to make. It's a mistake I made. Supergiant is here because Move Bounce hates it, because all the auto-generate stuff really wants to be generating cards on turn 5. And when they can't, when all these decks are messed out of their turn 5, unless that player is excellent, they're in a lot of trouble. You can go straight Supergiant into Hela, however, still, if you're sure your opponent doesn't have any whatchamacallit, any tech cards, right? If you think they're running Cosmo or Life, you don't want to do that. But outside of that, it is an absolutely excellent play, one that works really, really well. There's a million other cards you can put behind Supergiant we'll get to, but it's here largely as a disruptive piece. Ghost Rider is great to obviously bring back extra stuff. One of the Ghost Rider's like 2 best targets here are Hela. Obviously, getting Hela is huge because then you can just drop an Odin on it, and it's like nothing ever happened. But if you get a Ghost Rider in a lane and it doesn't bring back Hela, you can feel free to drop Odin on it again and get Hela that second time, right? Which is very, very strong, right? Like you Ghost Rider, and like you have Hela gone and you have Supergiant gone, right? And you Ghost Rider in that lane, and oh my God, you got back that Supergiant. Damn it, that's annoying. Well, now you just drop Odin in that lane, right? You can even play another discard there. No, you can't. You can't. At that point, you're stuck. But yeah, you can even play another discard there, and you're all set. Jubilee is your regular turn 4 play outside of Supergiant. You just use it to go find something, right? You're fine to hit whatever you hit. Be a little careful, be a little cognizant of if you're going to have Blade. And Hell is in that right spot, but outside of that, you'll be fine. Um, Blink's power in this list is very simple. You can use it at the end of the game after a Supergiant. It's going to blink off that Supergiant. So if you haven't seen Hela, that's your way of getting Hela, right? Because you can Supergiant just hide a Gore, right? And be totally fine, or hide a Legion or whatever benefits you and be totally fine. And then you can blink off that Supergiant and reveal something else. You can also, if you don't see Hela, after your Supergiant, you can drop Blink, hide Blink, and then what the last card you play, that could be a Blade, a Jubilee, whatever, that gives you a really, really great chance of seeing Hela too. Legion is here for certain locations. It could be multiple fives here, but Legion is here for multiple locations. It makes games that could be otherwise very hard to win much easier to win, as you don't want to really be dealing with like locations that say your cards don't have any abilities or you can't play 3, 4, 5s here, or so on and so forth. You can play that on turn 4 and just say no, thank you. I don't want to deal with that bullshit. It also saved me a couple of games that it would have been shore losses by like working on Rickety Bridge and closing out locations that left the game tied and so on. So that was nice too. Gore is big and strong and cheap. So that's it. Gore is sort of your weird anti Werewolf by Night tech. It's the biggest card that you can play that not Werewolf by Night, Fenris Wolf. It's your anti Fenris Wolf tech. Because like you discard a bunch of cards, right? And like they try and Fenris back one, but Gore has -1 strength to Fenris, so it's gonna go get a Jubilee, a Gambit, a Blade, whatever instead, and then you still have Gore. That's why you can Blade Gore early, but you don't want to necessarily Blade Infinite. Odin is here for several main targets. Ghost Rider we talked about already. We also talked about playing it on. We also talked about playing it to get on Hela. If you play a Hela early, which happens, which is perfectly fine. You can also, especially if you get that Hela early, if Hela happens early, make sure you play it on like one of your discard cards, Blade, Gambit, Corvus, because then you can Odin that. It'll get the second discard will happen then before Hela. That is super super strong. Um, at the end of the game, there's just times where gambiting, uh, Odin and Gambit is incredibly strong as well, especially if you've got that hidden. So let's say you go, I guess it would have to be Corvus in this case, right? So you go Corvus into Supergiant, and then your turn 5 you play Hela. You can spend your turn 6 now dropping a Gambit on that Corvus Glaive, or you can even play Blade and Gambit them both, so on and so forth. The final use is at the end of the game. If you've got a Jubilee and a lane alone and you didn't see Hela, you can just drop Odin on that Jubilee just fine. Hela is Hela. I refuse to explain Hela. We all get it. And Infinite is 20 power for 6, except you almost never play him. There are times when you just sort of whiff on your plays on turn 4. If you've got Corvus Glaive and you skip 4 and you Infinite 5, that's, a reasonable turn 5 of 20 power. All right, so Danish is the top ranked Hela main. He basically wrote this turn by turn. I basically used this as a flowchart and started winning games with this list. That's why this is like the thumbnail it is for today, because I love this list. I had to pull myself away from playing this list to go do some work. Turn 1, you want Blade if Gore, maybe Odin, unless Corvus is in hand. Like you'll consider hitting Odin with that Blade, but you'll also hit Gore but if you have Corvus, just hold them all. Turn 2 is the same thing as 1. Turn 3, Corvus, unless Gambit has a high priority target, and the high priority target that Danish suggested was Fenris Wolf, who's very annoying for you, but obviously Doom 2099 worked pretty well for me as a prio target. There's a lot of things like that that make sense. Turn 4, Supergiant is better than Jubilee. You only Ghost Rider if you discarded Odin to play in the discard lane, right? So if you played Corvus on turn, or Gambit, whatever, on turn 3, you don't have Hela in hand, right? But you do have but you discarded Odin. You can play Ghost Rider on top of that Corvus Gambit lane. It's gonna hit that. It's gonna bring that Odin back and hit it. That's the only time you'll play Ghost Rider on turn 4. Outside of that, it's Supergiant over Jubilee, and I tend to be putting Jubilee as alone in a lane as possible in case I want to Odin it later, because obviously that takes up a lot of your lane space. Turn 5, if you can hide something, you want it to be Ghost Rider, Blink, or Hela. If you don't have any fear of tech, Hela. Ghost Rider is a good one because, especially the way Hela works now, sometimes you're going to discard Gore and Infinite. And if you've gotten rid of Ghost Rider says, hey, no problem, I got you covered. Um, yeah, Blink is a fine hide if you don't see Hela. We talked about that earlier. Whereas, like, the turn you play at the end of the game, just make sure, like, you end at that point. Even if you want to play like a Gore, you end with a Blade, and then that Blade will get blinked off and have a reasonable shot at hitting Hela, like usually a 1/3ish chance. You can also drop Gore or Odin, and then you can blink the Supergiant on 6 if you want to. That's totally fine. If you're going to drop Gore on Odin, Gore or Odin, that's totally fine. Odin would then be on like a Gambit type card, a Jubilee type card, and that'll give you an extra card in that lane. If you don't have Supergiant, you're probably going to blink that Jubilee if possible, or blink that Corvus/Gambit. You can also play an early Hela here, especially if you have Odin in hand, or you can just cold drop Jubilee. Turn 6, Blade plus Hela. You can also play Gambit plus Jubilee or Ghost Rider, or you can Odin on Hela or Blink. We all get it? That's how we play the list. This list is awesome. I don't know how to tell you how cool this is as a flowchart. Like, print this screen, play this list once you can. Hopefully, Snap is working, or you have a VPN by now. Play this list, keep this, and you're just going to win games. Cool. We're going to look at a list I got an infinite ticket with, but one last look at Danish's new Hela. This is so freaking cool. Please go play it. Hey, we have a major tournament. This was going to be at the front of the video, but I figured I had to talk about Snap shutting down first. We are hosting Snap Judgments League over on our Patreon. The all you have to do is be a member of our Patreon at any paid tier. The lowest tier is $2, and you can enter this tournament to win $400. I recognize most of my viewers are busy adults. I have very few young viewers. If you are a busy adult, this is the tournament for you. All you have to do is schedule one game a week with an opponent. Eventually, that mini tournament of your pod, you're put into a pod, leads to a top 8 with $400 in prizes, but the winner of the pod just gets a free season pass. So there's very little downside. It's stupidly fun. I'm going to make a bunch of top creators play, so make sure you check it out. Also, while we're here, thank you to Prime Mind. The Prime Mind app is our sponsor here, so please make sure you go into the App Store while Marvel Snap's not working and check out Primed Mind. It's a great mental health and coaching app. We also have the Pint-Sized Punch bundle. This is a nice simple one. $10 for 1,000 tokens is a decent deal. 193% is a little lower than I now currently recommend, given that deals have gotten better. But it's a fine one if you decide you have a real, like if you're 1,000 tokens from Moonstone, I think it's like probably worth like grabbing this for $10. But it is a regular ass Ant-Man variant that you can get from the shop, which is always really disappointing. I don't like spending money on those either. So meh. I think this one's largely a skip for 99.9% of people. Assuming we could buy things. All right, I got an infinite take with this list. I found this list just floating around untapped. I was like, I wanted an Enchantress list. And I was like, what Enchantress list can I run? What looks fun? And I found an Enchantress list, and I was like, I miss playing Penny Parker. Is there a list that has both? Yes, there is. This is that list. I had an absolute blast with this. I love this list. I thought it was so much fun. So, you can find me playing this once, Marvel Snap exists at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. In fact, whether Marvel Snap exists today or not, I'm going to be doing a tier list of every Series 4 and 5 card on Twitch. The time is sort of pending for that. I think around 1 p.m. Eastern. It maybe around 12 p.m. Eastern. It depends on the blizzard that's coming and what my son's plans are as a result of the blizzard. Sorry, I had planned to have a more firm time commitment, but if you'd like to see me tier every Series 4 and 5 card in Marvel Snap, please join the stream on Twitch later today. All right, today being Sunday, by the way. This deck needs Victoria Hand, Frigga, and Galacta. US Agent can be Shang-Chi, but then if you do make that change, Hydra Bob should be Zabu or Psylocke. Bob can also be Maria Hill or Kitty. Penny and Iron Patriot can be Kate and Sentinel. Rocket and Groot can be Juggernaut, and you should have Elsa Bloodstone from Christmas, so I'm not going to do a replacement, but she's not especially good in the deck. She's fine. So Ika had a 70% win rate on Infinite Ladder, and I won an Infinity Ticket with this list. Turn 1, we want Snowguard over Bob. Turn 2 is Victoria, Frigga. Iron Patriot is better than Penny. Turn 3, Frigga on Victoria. Rocket and Groot if you have Prio, Elsa if not. Turn 4 is Galacta, generally speaking better than 2/2s. Turn 5, you either want to generate cards, because you probably have a Victoria type thing going, or you can play Victoria Hand and Frigga, or you can play US Agent and a 3-drop. Turn 6 is Enchantress if it wins. If not, you're going to play your big generated stuff and US Agent. Cool. This is the list. It is awesome. After this, we're going to take look at a Derek top 3 list. But first, once more, check out that Twitch. And my season pass question is now not going to be the question. Don't answer this question. The season pass, we'll save this question for tomorrow. The season pass question is, what do you think the outcome of this is going to be? If there already is an outcome, did you know about this? Is this the first you're hearing about it? Tell me your thoughts and feelings. Vent about this. I'm so curious to read a bunch of people's takes about it. Drop me a line, y'all. All right. Derek Ronan. Derek is playing a Ronan list. In fact, I wasn't aware Derek was playing this. He is definitely playing it, but I found this through Brade. This is a list that is in the number 11 spot on the Infinite Leaderboard and in the number 3 spot on the Infinite Leaderboard. It's just a really, really good Ronin list. It is super straightforward. This is sort of like a few people have said Anti-Venom is the new Sarah. This is sort of like what used to be a Sarah list, and now it's just an Anti-Venom list. Okay, so Derek made it, but you can find Browde at twitch.tv/Browde. Browde is awesome. He is Marvel Snap News, the Marvel Snap Bugle on Twitter. Great person. There's no high series cards you really, really need here. Iron Patriot can be Cable. New Season can be Fenris or Killmonger. Copycat can be, and Gladiator can be Rocket and Groot. Any good high series 3-drop, Juggernaut or Negasonic. And Anti-Venom, sorry, I guess you do need a high series card, because Anti-Venom's replacement is probably Malekith. So this is a high win rate rank 3 deck. Turn 1 you pass, turn 2 you play Iron Patriot over US Agent. Turn 3 is Gladiator over Copycat, which is more or less equal to Luke. Turn 4 is Anti-Venom over 3. Turn 5, Ronan or 3+2. This is fairly often a turn that you end up Maximusing. Turn 6 is Tech Card and Maximus/US Agent. And obviously your Anti-Venom 0 just sort of fits in wherever the hell it does in that play pattern. This is a fairly simple deck to play, but it is a control list, so what you're playing for is really, really priority and paying attention to opponent hand size, how many cards they're generating, how much space they have. You're trying to figure out where you want Invisible Woman, how you can Invisible Woman. Sorry, Invisible Woman should have been on turn 2. How you can Invisible Woman. Maximus is great behind Invisible Woman. Shadow King is great behind Invisible Woman. You're just trying to figure out how to maximize that stuff. Once you do, this is the type of deck that absolutely sings, but it does take a little bit of practice to learn how to use A, priority, B, Ronan, C, Invisible Woman. If you can get those 3 things down, this list is chef's kiss, incredibly strong, obviously near top of Infinite Leaderboard. You should check out the stream team. Assuming they can play Marvel Snap, Oh Behaved will be streaming at 1 p.m. Eastern. Go check them out. All right, Buttster. So I found this list through Dexter, who apparently a lot of his day 1 decks are from the Great Butt. Butt being the rank 4 or 5 player in Snap right now, multiple time Snap Justice League winner, friend, one of the best players around. Butt basically took the Iron Patriot Victoria Hand list that everyone's been running, that apparently Untapped has taken calling Iron Hand. I don't love that, but whatever. Iron Hand list, and said, what if we go even more all in on the ongoing? Toxic is playing a version that runs Mr. Fantastic over Frigga. Instead of just Mr. Fantastic over Frigga, we're saying, well, okay, let's go Mr. Fantastic and Ant-Man and Onslaught and say, let's frickin' go. We've got all the big stuff. Onslaught should be so huge in this list. So I know people on our Discord have been having massive success. I believe it was Synth. Hi, Synth. Having massive success with this, and I've heard a lot of other people the same. So, but as shared by twitter.com/Dexter, because Dex shared it on Twitter. At last I saw, he didn't have a video up for it. This would have been, if we did a video yesterday, this would have been the lead video yesterday. The lead deck in the video yesterday. We did do a video yesterday, if we did a deck guide video yesterday. This needs Victoria, Moonstone, Kate, and Wiccan. Speed can be Punisher or Mr. Fantastic Punisher or Captain America. You just want the next best 3 ongoing. Iron Patriot can be Mirage. So turn 1 is excuse me. Right. My head, it wasn't a Wiccan list for 10 seconds because my mind is literally on the strangeness of what the hell is happening with Snap right now. All right, so turn 1, Maria Hill, if you need a 2. Quinjet is better than Ant-Man. Turn 2, Iron Patriot, better than Victoria, is more or less equal to Kate. Although Kate will jump them both if you don't have a 3. You should have a 3, though. You've got a lot of 3s. Turn 3 is Fantastic or Speed, if you played Iron Patriot or Moonstone. Or if you have Moonstone in hand, excuse me, not if you played Moonstone, and you play Agent Coulson, if not. Turn 4, Wiccan, or you can play Moonstone on whatever lane you have space, unless you drop it on Mr. Fantastic or Speed. That's fine, too. Although, obviously, you better be damn sure they don't have Shang if you're dropping it on Speed. Turn 5, if you got that Wiccan, you can play Moonstone in a 3 right there on a lane, which is crazy strong. Or you can play Victoria Hand and Speed or Mr. Fantastic without that. And then turn 6, you can drop Onslaught and generated stuff, or you can drop Onslaught alone. If you drop Speed and Fantastic on 5, but you don't have Moonstone out at this point, you can then you can drop whatchamacallit, Victoria Hand and Moonstone on Speed and Fantastic, and a 2-drop. You can play Speed and Fantastic at this point, just straight up under Moonstone if you played Moonstone, just suddenly for a giant power spike, all sorts of stuff like that. And that type of power spike is how you steal cubes in Marvel Snap, and this is a very strong, straightforward list. This is a combo list, so like stuff like Juggernaut could be really disruptive and annoying, but outside of that, this is one to absolutely give some play to. Questions of the day? Fables, happy birthday, Fables. I know it's a couple days late and I should have said it sooner on video, but happy birthday, Fables. Is it better to spend tokens on cards to improve decks you like or to make more decks? So it depends where you are in your collection. Um, and it depends what type of player you are, right? My general theory is if you're struggling to get to infinite, if you're trying to get to infinite, just take one deck and make it as good as you can for the time being. If that deck is good enough, you play it long enough, well enough, you learn it inside and out, you're gonna hit infinite. If you're hitting infinite, it matters like regularly, it matters significantly less, right? If you're already hitting infinite, now you get choose what you like. Are you the type of person who takes more joy in mastering one powerful deck or in playing multiple decks? Whatever sparks joy is what you should do. But if you're not hitting infinite, you're struggling, I strongly urge you to target one deck that you can get really good with that you can manage to do that with. Boombot asks an MLA format question if it's time to get rid of two spaces after the period. And Boombot, I hate to tell you this, Boomer bot is what it should be. That's gotten rid of. MLA format no longer has that. That is actually now grammatically incorrect to have that second space. It breaks my heart, and I still do it automatically, even now on my documents. But one space after periods, friends, is apparently correct now. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. I'm going to go through y'all quickly today. I love you, but I've got multiple notifications happening, and I want to see what the hell is happening with Snap. So thank you to Abigail Lisa, Manager, Burnout, Regardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Danton, LEB, Fowler Newman, Inc., I am Frostman, Jane, Jose, Hota Navarrete, Yolo Potato, Thinking Poker, Prime Ryan, Reinberg, Ryanwood, Kier, Tixley, Koire, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Professor the Goat Seeker, Hollow, Pro Joe, Synth, Snap Assistance Joe, who's the person who messaged and told me about this shit in the first place. Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Gables, Ginger Prime, Philip Brackwich, Chapelo, Candy Loggins of the James Zone, Rob Zillman, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, Hexer C and Skippy G, Jessica Gamble, Slush Death, King of Bros, Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kevsy Hodel, Lunar Chris Corbin, John Q, Jim, McHugh, Clam, Colonel Foreman, Yes Stout, 8th Sage, Mod Supreme Models, Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan 56, Stephen, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, G Sun B, Only Fox, The Fuzzy Not Spectrum Mix, Who, Matt H, DJ Mega Hijinks, No Flex, Killaris, Mr. Craig Sterry, BG, Zodrex, The King of Canada, Demna Falcon, Jonesy, Two Ties, The Ray Lord, as the Bargain Tucker, and of course, Scotty T, where the D stands for. I'll see you tomorrow. I've got some great decks for you, and hopefully we have some news by the time you're watching this. I will pin a comment with whatever I find out that's happening as soon as it is. Thanks for watching. Hit that sub button. I'll see you tomorrow with another Snap Take. Peace.